Chapter 1, Section 10 of The Greek View of Life by Goldsworthy Lowes Dickinson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Chapter 1, Section 10. Mysticism. But there is nothing so misleading as generalization, especially on the subject of the Greeks. Again and again, when we think we have laid hold of their characteristic view, we are confronted with some new aspect of their life which we cannot fit into harmony with our scheme. There is no formula which will sum up that versatile and many-sided people. And so, in the case before us, we have no sooner made what appears to be the safe and comprehensive statement that the Greeks conceived the relation of man to the gods mechanically, than we are reminded of quite another phase of their religion, different from and even antithetic to that with which we have hitherto been concerned. Nothing, we might be inclined to say, on the basis of what we have at present ascertained, nothing could be more opposed to the clear anthropomorphic vision of the Greek than that conception of a mystic exaltation, so constantly occurring in the history of religion, whose aim is to transcend the limits of human personality and pass into direct communion with the divine life. Yet of some such conception, and of the ritual devised under its influence, we have undoubted though fragmentary indications in the civilization of the Greeks. It is mainly in connection with the two gods, Apollo and Dionysus, that the phenomena in question occur, gods whose cult was introduced comparatively late into Greece, and who brought with them from the north something of its formless but pregnant mystery, as though at a point the chain of guardian deities was broken, and the terror and forces of the abyss pressed in upon the charmed circle of Hellas. For Apollo, who in one of his aspects is a figure so typically Hellenic, the ever young and beautiful god of music and the arts, was also the power of prophetic inspiration, of ecstasy, or passing out of oneself. The priestess who delivered his oracle at Delphi was possessed and mastered by the god. Maddened by mephitic vapours streaming from a cleft in the rock, convulsed in every feature and every limb, she delivered in semi-articulate cries the burden of the divine message. Her own personality, for the time being, was annihilated. The wall that parts man from God was swept away, and the divine rushed in upon the human vessel it shattered as it filled. This conception of inspiration as a higher form of madness, possessed of a truer insight than that of sanity, was fully recognized among the Greeks. There is a madness, as Plato puts it, which is the special gift of heaven, and the source of the chiefest blessings among men. For prophecy is a madness, and the prophetess at Delphi, and the priestesses at Dodona, when out of their senses, have conferred great benefits on Hellas, both in public and private life, but when in their senses, few or none. And in proportion as prophecy is higher and more perfect than divination, both in name and reality, in the same proportion as the ancients testify, is madness superior to a sane mind. For the one is only of human, but the other of divine origin. Here, then, in the oracle at Delphi, the centre of the religious life of the Greeks, we have an explicit affirmation of that element of mysticism which we might have supposed to be the most alien to their genius. And the same element reappears, in a cruder and more barbaric form, in connection with the cult of Dionysus. He, the god of wine, was also the god of inspiration, and the ritual with which he was worshipped was a kind of apotheosis of intoxication. To suppress for a time the ordinary workaday consciousness, with its tedium, its checks, its balancing of pros and cons, to escape into the directness and simplicity of mere animal life, and yet to feel in this no degradation, but rather a submission to the divine power, an actual identification with the deity. Such, it would seem, was the intention of those extraordinary revels of which we have in the Bacchae of Euripides so vivid a description. And to this end no stimulus was omitted to excite and inspire the imagination and the sense. The influence of night and torches in solitary woods, intoxicating drinks, the din of flutes and cymbals on a bass of thunderous drums, dances convulsing every limb and dazzling eyes and brain, the harking back, as it were, to the sympathies and forms of animal life in the dress of fawn skin, the horns, the snakes twined about the arm, and the impersonation of those strange half-human creatures who were supposed to attend upon the god, the satyrs, nymphs, and fauns who formed his train. All this points to an attempt to escape from the bounds of ordinary consciousness, and pass into some condition, conceived, however confusedly, as one of union with the divine power. And though the basis clearly enough is physical and even bestial, yet the whole ritual does undoubtedly express, and that with a plastic grace and beauty that redeems its frank sensuality, that passion to transcend the limitations of human existence which is at the bottom of the mystic element in all religions. But this orgy of the senses was not the only form which the worship of Dionysus took in Greece. In connection with one of his legends, the myth of Dionysus Zagreus, we find traces of an esoteric doctrine taught by what were known as the Orphic sects, very curiously opposed, one would have said, to the general trend of Greek conceptions. According to the story, Zagreus was the son of Zeus and Persephone. Hera, in her jealousy, sent the Titans to destroy him. After a struggle, they managed to kill him, cut him up, and devoured all but the heart, which was saved by Athene and carried to Zeus. Zeus swallowed it and produced therefrom a second Dionysus. The Titans he destroyed by lightning, and from their ashes created man. Man is thus composed of two elements, one bad, the Titanic, the other good.